Hello, my strong friends, and welcome to my 8-week strength and muscle building program, Uplifted. This program is made to help you grow. Let's get lifting and get uplifted.
Gentlemen, when you think of an alpha male, you probably think of a dude who's big and strong. But in my opinion, a true alpha male is someone who also has the perfect balance of style and substance.
Welcome to my 30-day ab program. There are a lot of familiar movements, but there are plenty of others that you probably haven't seen before. You now have everything you need to build that six-pack you've always wanted.
Foundations of Fitness Nutrition is designed to be a comprehensive and applicable guide to help everyone make more educated choices about the food they eat.
Are we online? Okay, cool. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome. This is Bodybuilding.com show, Brain Gains, and today we're coming to you live from our downstairs gym. I hope you like it. I like it down here. This is where I spend quite a bit of time. So thank you for joining us. We got a good show for you today. Today we're talking about a topic that I think applies to a lot of people. We're talking about hydration and how that affects your exercise and your strength and all that good stuff. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have people ready to learn, ready to talk about kind of some of the scientific issues that surround sport and exercise and fitness and stuff. So throughout the show, please feel free to ask questions via socials. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, on Twitch, and we're monitoring all those channels right now for questions. So please feel free to ask away about all those. So again, thank you for being here. Also, if you want a more technical question answered, or if you'd like access to one of the studies that we're talking about today, please feel free to email us, brain.gains@bodybuilding.com, and we can get back to you. We both have access to that email, so we can get back to you directly. So thank you. But yeah, Alec, how you feeling?
Hydrated. I actually am on my third one of these today.
Oh my gosh.
So just trying to get in the spirit of it.
There you go. Well, today, like I said, we're talking about hydration, and if any point you guys feel like we may have messed something up or need some clarification again, please feel free to comment below. Send us an email. We're also watching that email right now as well, so feel free there. But before we get into hydration, let's talk about some news, and when I say news, I mean new studies that have come out in the last month, some interesting articles that Alex got for us. So, Alec, actually, why don't you start us off?
You know what? So this one's going to be kind of off the kilter of what we're actually talking about, but I still found it very interesting. So this article, it was a study that took quite a long time. It's a longitudinal study that studied the relationship of the kind of mental effects of a mother's pregnancy or parents, how they perceived a pregnancy and its effect on weight gain on children. So in this one, 7,000 parents were examined. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, so from the University of Bristol. And this one, so it was a starting point, so they, beginning of the pregnancy, throughout it, and then measured the, it's considered the locus of control, so it's the psychological measure of an individual's attitudes toward their lifestyle and a belief in being able to change outcomes such as health through their own actions. Essentially, do you feel like you have control of yourself?
Okay.
And they asked the mother this, they asked the father this, and they asked the children at age 8 and 17. And what they found out was that if they had a poor locus of or it's called an external locus, so this means a little point in making an effort, what happens to be down in your luck and circumstance. So it means you feel like you don't have control of a scenario, right? Okay. In this case, maybe rearing your child or just the pregnancy. At 15, they measured weight in the kids, and if the mother had a poor kind of outlook on this, the kids were more likely to have gained roughly 4 pounds than those who showed positive. Okay. And if the father had the kind of poor outlook, it was roughly 3 pounds. And then if the kid themselves, if they had a poor outlook on their health, they were 3 pounds heavier.
All right. So this really speaks to like the mental health that surrounds fitness, right? So talks about the parents both having a positive outlook on life, having a positive effect on the child's health. Mm-hmm. So positivity, optimism, those things can actually have effects on your health. Absolutely. So that's actually really interesting. Very cool. And huge numbers there. 7,000 people surveyed over the course of years.
And these are kids from back in the 90s. So they They've been tracking that bad boy.
Very cool. All right, well, there you go. Keep it positive, everybody. That'll help you shed some weight, maybe. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to move on to a different one. This one's looking at our old friend creatine. Surprise, it works. So they did a study, let's see, this is from the Journal of the International Society of Sport Nutrition, our good friends over there, and I think this one was at the Kinesiology Program, Department of Health and Human Development at Western Washington University, Dr. Chris Afuli and others as well. So they looked at creatine supplementation, but instead of just creatine, they added electrolytes to it because apparently there was some biochemistry done, and we actually found out that creatine, once it's in the blood, is transported into the cells of your muscles a little bit better if you add salt or if you add electrolytes. So that pertains to today. We're going to talk about electrolytes a little bit. But so they had athletes supplement with a creatine/electrolytes mixture, 4 grams of creatine and about 650 milligrams of electrolytes, sodium, chloride, calcium, magnesium, potassium. And they did this every day for 12 weeks, and then they waited for 4 weeks, and then they crossed over and did the placebo, or the other way around, for another 12 weeks, and they did power output measurements before and after each one of those. And shocker, those who were taking creatine had better power output.
Powerful stuff.
I kind of wish they had done a group that just did creatine and then also another group that did creatine and electrolytes, but this one was just looking at, does creatine plus the electrolytes work? And it does. So there you go. Don't worry about putting extra electrolytes into your creatine supplement. So again, if you want a copy of this, please feel free to shoot us an email and we'll get you there.
And we've got quite a few questions already. First of all, comment from Matthew on the mustache. I appreciate you.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Second, a question from YouTube. Inkit, will I die if I don't drink water? So common sense definitely says yes, you should drink water. We're made up of 70 to 80% with water.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You should keep that up.
I mean, okay, so what if, so we can look at this question two ways. Is it, I drink no water or anything else that contains water, or maybe I only drink soda, or I only drink Gatorade, or Bodybuilding.com signature brand BCAAs, right? Who knows? So, I mean, can I get away with drinking just those things, or?
That's a good question. I mean, it's your prerogative. If you get liquids in, get liquids in.
Get the liquids in. You'll be all right. You probably won't die. But if you drink nothing,
yes,
it's a bad plan.
Yeah, if you're not hydrated whatsoever.
In theory, you get water from food. It's not a lot.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're
it's not 70% body weight.
If you're limiting liquids in general, you probably are going to wither away in other aspects. So
let's see. How much water should I drink if I take 5 grams of creatine a day? So this is actually a pretty good question. There's a lot of interest in if creatine monohydrate or creatine nitrate, or if any of these actually affect your water balance. Now, introducing an ingredient into your body changes what's called the osmolality, or the concentration of stuff in the cells versus concentration of stuff out of the cells. And a lot of people think that creatine leads to extra bloating or extra water retention or extra this. And we've looked at really long-term studies with creatine and found that water balance over a long period of time really doesn't change that much with creatine supplementation. So, I mean, as long as you are staying hydrated, if you're drinking the right amount of water a day, if you're keeping your body weight where it should be before and after a workout so you can see where your water balance is due to this exercise, then you're probably going to be okay. And we're going to dive into this hydration stuff really a lot deeper in a minute, but at the end of the day, just continue drinking water. You don't need to drink a ton extra just because you're taking creatine. But Great question. Let's take one more and then we'll move on.
Absolutely. Let's see here. What's a good one on we got here? Sean on Facebook. Can I drink too much water? We will get to that.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a very good question. We will definitely
wait and see.
Wait and see.
All right, cool. Let's do your next news story.
Absolutely. So this is a little more training aspect on this one. So the summary of this study that I found was overload training on exhaustion followed by a period of rest. So in summary, they're testing overload training on endurance athletes versus the regular training that they're performing.
Okay.
And they found out that overtraining is actually bad.
No way.
It's not beneficial, but it's not great either. So what they did, so half the group, they would do 150% of the regular training load, and the other would just stick to the regular training that they're performing.
Okay.
And so this involves triathletes and cyclists. So that means they're moving quite a bit to figure this out. So if you're doing a normal 100, like if you're doing 150% of, say, if you're training for like an Ironman or a triathlon for your bike, that's quite a bit of training. Well, what they did was they actually stuck a little node into a nerve fiber. Oh. Yeah, to figure this out, to see the actual like tissue damage on that. So what long story short, they showed that the effect on the sympathetic nervous system was a little bit more on the overtrained, and that they weren't recovering as fast.
Okay, so they were in like fight or flight mode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that means you don't need to overdo it, at least from that. And that the perspective in terms of like weightlifting is a bit different, just because your methodology in which you're training is completely different. Like endurance versus like high intensity. But regardless, the point of it is that when you know somebody that's training for like a super marathon or an Ironman or triathlon, stick to the basics and don't overdo it.
And we preach this all the time in our articles about bodybuilding and about fitness, like rest and sleep. Like these are all extremely important parts of your building. Like so you can lift and lift, but if you're not taking time to not lift, then you're taking away from your gains themselves. So
well, it's like the idea of like, hey, you know, I'm gonna do a double day every day. That's a whole, in my opinion, like I did that when I was in my early 20s, but like it's tough. Like your body can't recover like that unless you are, well, you know, James Howlett, Wolverine. Yeah. And that doesn't work.
Well, you know, he's the man.
He's the man.
All right, final news story for today. This one I think actually also directly correlates to what we're talking about today. And this is more about what comes along with a lot of the hydration that we get. So, you know, we like to sell people supplements, and people like drinking them, and drinking like BCAAs, for example, is a great way to get the water that we're looking for, you know, athletes to consume. But a lot of people are worried about the sweeteners that come with those products. And so there's a stigma around sweeteners that if you have too many artificial sweeteners like aspartame or ACE or what have you, that it can actually affect your insulin response over a period of time. So if your body thinks that it's consuming something sweet a lot, then it can have negative effects. It doesn't. Look at that. But we did so they did a long-term 12-week study. Am I on the right one? Yes. Long-term 12-week study looking at 50 people, and then they did a crossover again. And it turned out that those who consumed sweeteners twice a day, every day, versus those who did not consume sweeteners twice a day, every day, showed no differences in insulin response after a glucose challenge. So that's pretty cool to learn.
Glucose challenge sounds
I like that a lot. The only thing that's interesting, or I should say the only thing that kind of puts me off of this study, is that it's really impossible to control a placebo. You know, we're going to give these people something that's sweet or tastes sweet, and we're going to give these other people, the control group, something that absolutely does not taste sweet. I think they're going to know what treatment they're getting, and so it's really hard to be completely controlled for the placebo effect there. So
that's a good point.
Anyway, there you go. Don't be afraid of artificial sweeteners. I'm not just saying that from I'm trying to sell you products standpoint. I'm trying to tell you, like, don't worry. These products are safe. They're not going to affect your biochemistry in that way, at least according to this current data. So
absolutely,
we got that going for us, which is nice. Let's get over to a couple more questions before we move on. Should creatine be taken pre-workout?
Ooh, actually, in theory, as long as your creatine stores are up all the time, you can take it pre or post.
You can take whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. At that point, with creatine, it's just being consistent with when you're taking it. If you prefer to take it pre, do it. If you prefer to take it post, do that.
Are pills as effective as powder?
Your body's absorbing it.
There you go. Two questions at once. Two birds.
Nailed it.
I dig it. And we're going to do one more creatine question, then we're going to stop with creatine. Can I take it during cutting? Does it affect that at all?
No, you're good.
You're good. Go for it. Creatine's great. It's not an energy system, or sorry, it's not a calorie, right? It's not going to affect your ability to lose calories.
Nope.
Actually might even help a little bit because you can push out the gains.
Exactly.
There
well, especially if you're trying to deplete, you get a couple extra reps. That's what you're supposed to do.
I dig that. All right, cool. Okay, let's move on. So as with every month, we've onboarded some cool new products this month on Bodybuilding.com. We figured you should know about what we got, so that's pretty cool. What do we have that's new? Some cool stuff, I think.
Well, one might say it's on our desk currently.
One might say that.
So recently, BBCom Signature, we launched some summer flavors for our BCA, Amino Plus Energy, and pre-workout. So tropical pineapple, watermelon lime, and blueberry lemonade.
Oh, baby, they are really good. Alec and I are actually both on the tasting committee for that, and they're outstanding. So yeah, definitely, those are available now. Like you said, the BCAA, the BCAA Plus Energy, and the pre-workout, those three new flavors. And then we got one more signature flavor.
Ooh, yeah, so for the whey strawberry, we have that one as well. So that one, I want to say it tastes like cereal milk almost with...
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, think more, what was the cereal? Was it?
Is there a strawberry cereal?
There's got to be a strawberry one. Anyway, it tastes almost like strawberry Nesquik as well.
Oh, Nesquik is good, yeah. So I know it's great. Okay, I don't know if you all remember last month we talked about essential amino acids. It's almost like Dymatize was listening to us, and here they are. Dymatize has released their all 9 EAAs product on our website. It comes in a number of flavors, including Cola Lime Twist, Fruit Fusion Rush, Jolly Green Apple, Juicy Watermelon, and Orange Cranberry. So that's pretty cool. We like the amino acids, and we're actually seeing quite a few more of those products on site. So that's cool that people are going to have more options for that.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, if you're on the go quite a bit, I know we launched a marketing push last week. We talked about RSP's new protein brownie.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet.
I think we have some upstairs.
I gotta get on protein.
Anyway,
brownie,
for those that like more of the functionality of a protein uplifted food, it's a great option.
Chocolate chip cookie dough, birthday cake, classic fudge, all my favorite flavors of brownie.
Say it slower.
A couple more. We have a buffed baked protein sandwich cookie, so that'll be interesting. And then that comes in birthday cake and peanut butter cup, which is cool. And then finally, Scivation has come out with a new product called Extend Energy, and that comes in a blue raspberry.
I believe they're going to be coming out with more because that's what they do.
That's what they have a lot of flavors there.
So.
Cool. All right, cool. Well, let's a couple more, one or two more questions before we dive in. Is beer okay after a workout?
Didn't they just come out with a study that that didn't really impede anything? I feel like when we talked to Doug Kalman, he said something about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously high amounts of alcohol put you in a weird, catabolic state almost, but like beer doesn't have that much alcohol in it relatively, and you're getting this really great spike of really like cheap, high glycemic index carbs, which is what your muscles really want to get glycogen back in. So it's like, why not, right?
And it depends
ton of water, ton of carbs.
It depends on what you're training. Like I know plenty of strongman athletes that do that, and of course, like they're more inclined to do a beer chug after like a keg toss or some like pharma carries. But if you're tracking your food and you want to be able to consume a little alcohol, go for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people prefer a different approach, but if you want to go relive your college days and just put a beer back, do it.
I don't want that much beer.
No, just a little, just a taste.
Yeah, senior year college, not sophomore year college.
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Okay, so let's move on. So today we're talking about hydration. Like we mentioned a couple times, hydration is the name of the game today, and that comes in a number of different forms. How much water you're drinking, what your electrolyte balance is. For reference, before we get started, we're mostly referencing an article, or I should say, kind of a whole reference from our friends at ACSM, or the American College of Sport Medicine, and they released a whole definitive everything you need to know about hydration and how it affects your muscles and your performance and output and health and such. So a lot of what we're talking about today is from there. If you'd like access to that, please shoot me an email. I could probably find you a copy and we can get going from there. So hydration is extremely important because there are a lot of misconceptions about what's right, what's wrong. So we're going to try and meld through some of those today. But it's important to remember, first of all, that everyone is different. So everyone sweats differently. Everyone works out differently. Everyone works out in a different environment, in a different heat, in a different gym. And so before we start doling out like a bunch of you need to drink exactly this much water every day, you need to follow up workouts with this type of hydration, make sure that you know your condition, know how much you sweat, know how much heat you put yourself under. Are you wearing clothes that are extremely restrictive or allow for wicking sweat? So take what we're saying today with a little bit of a grain of salt and know that it may apply to you a little bit more or a little bit less depending on your condition.
So for instance, we're here in Boise and it'll push, right now it's been probably 100 degrees at the peak for the past few days, and it's a dry heat, but if you compare, you will sweat here. That's
Absolutely.
a fact. But compared to say if you're down in Houston, where it's just humid and god awful and you just sweat by just being, you're gonna need to drink more water or a little bit different than what we do. So.
Right. And so let's talk about why you sweat. So sweat is your body's response to an increased exterior temperature, and that's affecting your interior temperature. And so your body knows that if I secrete liquid on the outside, that liquid will evaporate, and the evaporation of liquid is actually diffusing of the heat energy itself.
Absolutely.
And so by sweating, I'm getting rid of actual heat from inside the body, which is really cool. Alec actually mentioned that it's a dry heat. I know a lot of people kind of consider that a joke for the West Coast because we have really dry air, so that's great. But dry air is actually really great for sweating because it means that there's a lot of room in the air for our water, our sweat to diffuse into the air. If you live in a place that's a lot more humid, a lot wetter, the air is less apt to absorb liquid from your sweat, which means you can't evaporate as much, which means you are less likely to be able to cool off thanks to the sweat, which means you will sweat more, and it's a vicious cycle over and over again. So be aware that your climate where you live actually has a huge effect on your ability to diffuse heat into the atmosphere, and so it's harder to cool off, and that affects your hydration to a great deal. So how do I decide at what point it is too much? So a lot of research has gone into at what point your body actually starts being affected by loss of water, and they found that if you lose 2% of your body weight in water loss, so if you weigh 200 pounds, if you lose 4 pounds of water, which doesn't seem like a lot, but over the course of a couple days, that's half a gallon. That's not that much. And so if you lose 2% of your body weight, you will actually start to see measurable differences in strength, in speed, in power, in cognitive ability. Your ability to think straight and make good decisions actually goes down with your hydration. So that's super interesting and thankfully a very measurable variable for us. And so knowing what you weigh right before you're at workout and right after you're done working out, you can actually get a pretty good measurement for how much water you lost, because water has weight, and you're not going to burn a ton of fat in the hour that you're working out, so you know that weight lost during that workout is probably water that you lost, and so it's a good way to measure how much you've lost during that workout. And you can adjust how much water you drink throughout the day by getting an average over the course of multiple workouts. Like I usually lose about X number of pounds of water per day. So there you go. So that's a good way to measure.
No, absolutely. And it's just, I don't know, the rule of thumb, at least for me, when it comes to because if you train in the mornings, both of us we're early risers, and I always try to get about 1 liter of water in me before I lift. And just because, again, we're in dry heat, we sweat a lot. I'm more of a high intensity kind of training aspect. So a lot of it depends on you, your mileage will vary, but rule of thumb is drink water right away.
Right away. You want to get back to the weight that you were at before you started working out. It's actually a really easy way to, if I'm going to work out multiple days in a row, I got to make sure I'm back to this particular weight by tomorrow. I've drinking this much water by tomorrow, so you can make sure you're in the right hydration. I saw a question in here somewhere, how do you know if you're hydrated enough? This is from Facebook. As crude as it sounds, urine's actually a really good way to tell. We're not looking for straight clear water, but we're not looking for any, leprechaun gold either.
And then, which is another, that's a good image. Another good question from Facebook, why do I have to pee like 8,000 times a day whenever I consume lots of water? Because your kidneys are working in overdrive.
That's right.
That's why.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you want water in your body so your body has access to all the water that it needs to carry out all this function, but at the same time, your kidneys are working hard to maintain that balance, and so the more that you give access to, the more you overdo it, the more your kidneys have to work to get some of that excess out. And it just means they're working, right? And there's no problem with that. There's no long-term negatives to making your kidneys do their job. They're very good at it and very efficient at it, and they're not going to be upset if you make them do their job. So
no, that's kind of take it as kind of a badge of pride with that. Like I said, I'm on my third one of these. I'm usually right now about 2 in, but a lot of it comes down to it's just, if you have a kind of volume container in which you're using to kind of direct yourself on how much water you're consuming, you can be the gallon guy, you can be the person who has like a 20-ounce shaker and you just multiply that out to a gallon and a half per day, how much you're trying to get. I know that liters, when it comes to this, drinking about 3 1/3 is a gallon. So I try to hit personally about 6 of these a day just because I'm moving around quite a bit. And I like to get home and know that it is not leprechaun yellow.
There you go. Yeah, you know in advance. Perfect. Another factor to consider when we're talking about hydration, we talked about it a little bit before, your body's ability to regulate its own heat. And so we talked about dehydration being bad because of performance decrements, but it's also really bad for safety issues, for health issues, for ability to deal with hot temperatures outside, and especially this time of year, especially since it's been so hot, not only here in Idaho, but everywhere. Things like heat exhaustion, heat stroke, the likeliness of those taking place if you're dehydrated, just absolutely skyrockets, because your body needs water so that it can sweat, so that it can decrease the amount of heat inside. And so these are extremely important things. And so in being able to track how much water you're consuming, how much you're losing, these are all very, very important things. However, I'm going to flip the topic on its head here real quick. There is such thing as hyperhydration. One little side story. This actually happened to someone when the Nintendo Wii came out, and I watched this, I listened to a radio contest, who could consume water continuously for the longest without going to the bathroom. And it turned out that one of the people actually ended up passing away because they drank too much water, and they were a very, very small female. And so, so why does that happen? It turns out, we all know that your body has electrolytes inside. It has sodium and chloride and calcium, and potassium is actually the really important one here.
Yes.
And if you drink too much water, you can actually dilute the potassium too much. You have too much water per potassium. And so that's why this condition, this hyperhydration, is also known as hyponatremia, and that's the fancy word for I don't have enough potassium. The concentration of potassium is too low. So don't overdo it. We see this a lot in people who are running like marathons or triathlons and such, and they drink too much water without drinking enough electrolytes, because they're sweating so much and they're replacing with water. They're not replacing with electrolyte drinks, and so they lose too much potassium, and then their neurons can't fire, because the movement of potassium and sodium is what drives that. So be aware of that. Make sure it's not just pure water all the time. We want to get some electrolytes in there as well.
And it's more of a reason to include something like yams, sweet potatoes, yellow potato, any sort of potato. Potassium is super high in them. Most people don't know that, but bananas obviously the go-to. Make sure if there's one micronutrient that it comes to like health and fitness, it's micronutrients. Sodium and potassium are just huge. Don't be afraid of sodium.
Don't be afraid of unless there's a heart condition.
Disclaimer, unless your doctor says otherwise. But if you're
hashtag not a doctor.
Hashtag not a doctor. But then just keep an eye on that. And like Tyler said, there is such thing as drinking too much water. Sometimes, when you go to the bathroom to X amount of times, you might be overdoing it just a smidge. But that doesn't mean necessarily to be afraid to drink water, but don't drink so much water that you don't go to the bathroom.
That's right.
That's long story short.
We don't want that. A couple of risk factors here. Turns out that females are a little bit more susceptible to hyponatremia because they don't sweat quite as much, and so they are continuously increasing their water, and they don't have anywhere for it to go, and so that's an interesting thing. And then actually, people who are older, I would say 40 to 50 plus, tend to lose the reflex that tells them that they are thirsty, and so they don't drink as much water naturally, and so they end up becoming kind of naturally dehydrated because they just don't feel their body telling them that they need more water, which I think is super interesting.
And we've got a fun question on Twitch from
let's move on to some questions.
Dante Feely. Why do I sweat like crazy?
Because it's hot.
Hot. Maybe it could be due to genetics. Some people are more predisposed to sweat more. That's just how it is.
Absolutely.
It could be body weight. It could be like your just body composition in general.
Maybe just run hot.
Maybe you run hot. Maybe you wear hoodies in the middle of summer, like some people do for some reason.
Alec is absolutely right. There's absolutely people who sweat significantly more than other people, and that's something that just needs to be taken into account. So if you feel like you sweat too much, I'm really sorry. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's just kind of your burden.
There you go.
So,
are there any differences in hydration, sipping water over time versus chugging in one sitting? So I actually think, thank you, Andy from Facebook. I think I looked at a study. I can't cite it. I can't remember where it was from. But I think that your body does absorb it a little bit better if you are sipping it a little slower. Because if you take it all at once, your kidneys see it all at once, and they go, there's too much water, and they start flushing it out really quickly. So I think you do retain a little bit more by sipping it slowly and slowly introducing it to the body. So there you go. Let's see. I am a huge energy drink fan. Monster, Rip It, Venom. I am looking to cut that out now and was wondering what you would recommend as an energy booster drink. I know I can get back into drinking water a lot, but right now I want to get the flavor to take place of an unhealthy energy drink. That's a great question. I've actually heard of a really good product that you can drink that contains branched chain amino acids, it contains electrolytes,
You don't
and it
say.
even contains a little bit of caffeine for all the energy you need without all the sugar of a
Oh, not
energy
that one.
drink.
Where's
Is
it
this
at?
one? Do we have
No,
energy?
no. Oh, wait, is that one?
No.
Oh.
We don't have the energy aminos here, but the Bodybuilding.com signature brand Energy Aminos contains all the things that you need with none of the calories, which is really cool.
We were bamboozled there for a second, but that's okay.
Sorry, that sounds a heck of a lot like an ad, but to be honest, it has, like, that's what I drink when I need energy because it doesn't have any of the calories. And
If you're going, but then if you're going from that aspect, yeah, if you happen to choose a product that's like the powdered form and you mix it and you take it with you, that's an option. Another one, if you're trying to if you're still into the energy drink perspective, there's VPX Bang, that's a good one. A lot of people like that one. Mr. Hyde, what is it? Something Punch.
Ooh, that's a ton of caffeine.
Well, you know.
Oh yeah, if you're looking for a ton of caffeine, there you go. The Hyde comes out, now comes in a can. I think C4 comes in a can too.
C4 comes in a can.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's actually very good.
Yeah, and actually, let's see. Jonathan comes up with a really good point. Using something like an energy drink or a supplement is actually a really okay way to get your water. Like, it's okay to flavor it because having flavor in the water, if that causes you to drink more, then great. Like, it's not a negative having to put BCAAs in your water. Palatability is the word that they use, and palatability is extremely important in how much water you drink. So, salt helps, flavor helps, sweeteners help. And that's okay. So don't be afraid to consume your water with a little something extra on the inside. Caffeine. A lot of people say caffeine is this huge diuretic and it's going to make you pee it all out and it's going to be a net negative on your water balance. No, you need a lot of caffeine for you to actually lead to urinating more, and that calls back to caffeine's vasoconstriction properties, and so that makes your blood pressure increase a little bit, and your kidneys respond to a little bit higher blood pressure with a little bit more urine output. But if your caffeine intake with a water supplement, if your caffeine's relatively low, then the response is going to be relatively low.
Well, it's like if you have your venti coffee in the morning and you assume that coffee just makes you go to the bathroom like that, it's because you're consuming a significant amount of volume of liquid in that time frame, plus a little bit of vasoconstriction from the caffeine. So
yeah,
just a little bit.
Let's see, Chippo Tiandarach from Twitch. I'm really sorry about the name. Does drinking water help decrease bloating? So bloating is actually having too much water on the inside. You're retaining a lot of water. You might have water in the lymph system that's really high. You might just be really well hydrated. I don't think I've read anything about drinking water considerably or significantly helping the subjective feeling of bloats.
I think anecdotally, this is purely based on personal experience. I would say that, so say if you happen to go on a vacation or weekend and you consume a little more salt than you normally will. Yeah. If you increase your salt intake with not kind of the proportion to water hydration to flush it out, yeah, I think honestly upping your water smidge over a couple days will help you decrease water weight.
Because you're decreasing the concentration of the salt. So you just, nice job, I like that. There you go, listen to Alec.
Fun fact.
YouTube, how does coffee affect hydration? So this comes right back to where we were before. It comes with the caffeine. The caffeine can lead to a slight diuretic effect, but I don't like to say that caffeine is a hardcore diuretic because I don't feel like it acts that way. And that also highly depends on how you react to caffeine. A cup of coffee has 80 to 100 milligrams of caffeine, and if that really gets you going, if you're really sensitive to caffeine, then your response to it might be greater. For some, 100 milligrams is a laughable amount, and so they might not see any difference. But if it helps you consume a little bit more water throughout the day, I'm okay with it. I just probably shouldn't be drinking 10 cups of coffee a day. There are other ways to get water.
And then we have another question from YouTube. Can water make you more vascular? That's based on a variety of factors. One, your body composition. If you're lean enough that your vascularity is a little bit more.
That's right.
That's one. Two, your carbohydrate intake or food that may be kind of expanding the vein a smidge. And another one would be, if you're drinking enough water, you have more fluids in your system, so yes. So it's a variety of factors, but water by itself will not just make you vascular.
I wish. Just drink more water and all of a sudden you're, that would be really cool.
Yeah, like Space Jam, Daffy Duck.
Oh, that would be cool. Let's see. When should I drink water versus aminos? I don't know if there's a right or wrong time. If aminos help you drink more water, then drink the aminos. Especially if we're just talking about straight branched chain amino acids. There's not a situation where I would be like, wow, you really should drink water over those branched chain amino acids, because BCAAs, they generally taste pretty good. They come in 1,000 different flavors, and if you find one of those that helps you drink, a bunch more water. I see people put like 2 scoops into a gallon of water, which is obviously much more diluted than the bottle recommends. But if that helps you drink that gallon of water, like awesome, that's really cool. But if, just to straight answer the question, is there a right time for this, a right time for that? I don't know if there is a situation of one versus the other.
No, I would just say whatever helps you get you hydrated or helps you actually get your liquids in, do it to it.
Does alcohol dehydrate you? Yes, actually. High amounts of
Yes, it
alcohol
does.
can act as a diuretic, and they will flush you right out.
And then you will have a reaction from the alcohol sugars the next day.
Alcohol sugars, the, what's it called? I can't think of the metabolite. We'll get there. Send me an email, Gainz, Bodybuilding.com. Let's see. Are there flavorless BCAAs? I think you can get them in pills.
Well, there's unflavored ones.
There's unflavored?
There's
okay,
unflavored.
cool, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's
there's a
unflavored
variety.
and there's pills.
There's like, Cage Muscle has an unflavored BCAA powder.
Oh, there you go.
RSP
Thanks, Cage.
has it. EVL does. Variety. Most brands have an unflavored product.
Yeah, they exist.
So.
Does drinking a lot of water affect muscle? I mean, it affects your muscle's ability to output power. And we talked about before, if you lose 2% of your body weight in water, then your muscles actually lose their ability to output as much energy as they did before very quickly. It's a very measurable amount, so be aware of that.
Well, from a visual perspective as well, right?
Yeah,
So most of your muscles actually, made up of water as well. So if you, so from like a competition prep perspective, people that decrease their water, they're actually like pulling air out of a hose versus keeping it full with water. So
Want a full hose.
Want a full hose.
That's right. Does water affect fat loss, or does it help with fat loss? I think I saw a study about 2 years ago, I think, and it looked at people who got up in the morning and did nothing versus people who got up in the morning and drank a big old glass of cold water. And it turned out that the people who drank a big old glass of cold water actually had a temporary spike in resting metabolic rate for a while. And so, in theory, if you take a big old glass of water, you're not consuming any calories, but your body is actually burning more calories for the first part of the day, then yes, it would. I don't think it's going to be, the life changer. I don't think you're going to start seeing fat melting off because you're consuming more water. But will it hurt? Absolutely not.
No. And before we end this one, we just wanted to let everybody know that we appreciate you guys for tuning in on this.
Absolutely.
And from a perspective, so the products that we mentioned before with the BBCom signature, they're actually on promotion for a buy one get one free, or buy one get one 50% off.
Bogo50.
Don't want to misspeak for marketing on that one, but
that would be sad.
And then on top of that, looks like we've got some protein on sale for Bogo50 as well. We got Optimum Gold Standard, 100% whey, 3.35 pounds. BSN to the 6 5-pounder. Signature whey, 5 pounds, Bogo50, as well as 20% off on Pro Gym root beer for the 4-pounder. And yeah, so
Take it, man. You're doing great.
thank you.
Keep
So
going, yeah.
anyway, so yeah, a lot of products on Bogo50 for those that want to restock in the middle of summer. Like I said, these flavors are pretty fantastic. They're a little off the wall. They're not the normal blue raz. Like we do have that as well, but in terms of kind of a different approach, I'm very happy that the private label team decided to take a hit on the summer flavor.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. They're really, really good. We got to try them out.
Yeah,
They're great. We've got them in our little BCAA dispenser in the cafeteria.
Probably
now.
need some watermelon lime
It's
after
just
this.
amazing.
So.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you again so much for being a part of the show. If you have any more questions, you can continue to post them in the comments section. We're going to move over here. But again, yeah, we'd love to answer those for you. Feel free to send messages to brain.gainz@bodybuilding.com if you want to ask us something more specific or something that you didn't want to post in comments or something you want more detail about. We'd love to get back to you there. But we will be back probably next month, I think. Yep, we will be here. So feel free to shoot us notes if you have any particular topic that you want us to look at or something specific there. I think, we want you guys to be a part of this as well. So please feel free to be vocal about that.
Also, let us know what you like with the exterior, if you like us doing this in the gym.
Yeah, the gym.
So
I like it in here.
It's nice standing up versus sitting down, I can tell you that. So
yeah.
we'll keep
But anyway, if you're not already, make sure you come find us on Facebook.com/bodybuilding.com, YouTube.com/bodybuilding.com. We're on Twitch at bodybuilding.com or bodybuilding.com. But yeah, we'd love to see you there. Thank you again, everyone. It's been a blast, and hopefully we'll see you again next month. Have a good one.
Hello, my strong friends, and welcome to my 8-week strength and muscle building program, Uplifted. This program is made to help you grow. Let's get lifting and get uplifted.
Gentlemen, when you think of an alpha male, you probably think of a dude who's big and strong. But in my opinion, a true alpha male is someone who also has the perfect balance of style and substance.
Welcome to my 30-day ab program. There are a lot of familiar movements, but there are plenty of others that you probably haven't seen before. You now have everything you need to build that six-pack you've always wanted.
Foundations of Fitness Nutrition is designed to be a comprehensive and applicable guide to help everyone make more educated choices about the food they eat.